Welcome to The Leadership, a business-focused talk show brought to you by the Vested Group.
We talk to entrepreneurs, employees, thought leaders, innovators, dreamers, disruptors,
and even our own children about what makes us tick on and off the clock.
Welcome to a new edition of the Leadership Podcast brought to you by the Vested Group. You can find out more about us at thevested.com. My name is Hillary Patterson, and I am here with my lovely co-host, Denise Scarpa. And
Hello.
We have the honor of interviewing Jason Lavender today. I'm just going to start strong with you, Jason. If you were the CEO of TVG tomorrow, what would you do?
Great question. Was not expecting this one at all. After a lot of considerable thought and internal deliberation, I think what we're missing a lot here at the Vested Group is, there's a lot of national holidays out there that we really don't observe, such as we were discussing, National Day of Bacon, right? So I think expanding our observation of the true, national holidays at the Vested Group would be first on my list of things to amend at the Vested Group, and it's a very distant second after that one. To be honest with you,
I love it, and we're in the spirit season right now, so
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah. So if we're gonna just roll it back a little bit, so, go ahead, introduce yourself, Jason. Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. So Jason Lavender, responsible for sales here at the Vested Group. I support all the sellers that we have here. Great sales team, and really, my role is to, coach, enable, mentor them throughout sales process. We're very, client-facing as far as their role and what they contribute to. So really just making sure that they are fully capable and enabled to go out and deliver a great sales experience to our clients.
All right. How did you wind up at TVG?
Yeah, so some old friends. Ben Alford, who was y'all's NetSuite rep for years and years and years. And then also Debbie Pollard. So I worked with both of them at a previous firm. And they gave me a call, I guess it was in the summer of 2019. And said, hey man, there's this great dynamic firm that does NetSuite here in Dallas, and is really kind of looking to expand sales capabilities. And we're really looking for kind of things that I brought to that previous organization as far as what would be a good skill gap for us. So spent the second part of 2019 going through kind of the interview process, landed here February, I think 3rd of 2020.
Wow.
And then immediately went home. I guess we shut the office in March of 2020, and have been figuring it out ever since. So, but it's been a great experience. Obviously learning a new organization, learning a new product line, in the midst of learning a new business model with remote selling and COVID, has been a great experience, but one that, the team has been, heads down on it and really successful at picking up pretty quickly. So
That would be stressful. I didn't think about that. All coming together.
it was the perfect storm of calamities. So, exciting stuff.
All right, so a little bit of background on you. Tell us about your family, your siblings, children.
Yeah. So born in Waco, Texas.
You're like the one guy, right?
I think, the guy. I was the guy in 1979, born in Waco, Texas. Spent all of about a year there. And then my family moved down to Austin in 1980, so I'll date myself there a little bit. So one brother, it's been great. So he's married. Been married for about 10 years. My wife and I have celebrated 21 years this year, so we've got 4 kids.
Oh, wow.
It's been great. My dad lives out with us in East Texas. He moved out there with us a couple years back, and it's communal living, and he kind of lives across the street in our guest house. But having him around and available, and there with the grandkids, it keeps him real engaged. And my brother comes up and loves to do kind of that country thing every now and then. So we'll have them up at the holidays. But it's good. We stay connected. We stay tight. My brother's great. He's actually going through seminary seminary right now, so he's studying to be a Lutheran preacher, and actually starting his own church. It's called House Churches down in Austin, Texas. So, real active with that, and actually sit on the board of advisors for him for that. So it's great to work with him on that, initiative as he's trying to get the thing off the ground. But yeah, it's been good.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's exciting. How old are your kids?
So oldest one is 17, just like Dean, and starting to drive, which is
Exciting.
very lots of anxiety around that. Koopy is 14. And then Kaylee is 12 and Riley's 11. That was a good test on that one. So sometimes it's hard to put. Well, it's not just, it's what time of year is it, right? So because we kind of have two birthday seasons in our house. We have January, which my wife is the 15th, Cooper's the 18th, and I'm the 20th. Okay. And then kind of this May, June, where Riley is May 19th, Jackson is June 10th. And Kaylee is June 15th. I hope I got them all right. So,
wow.
But yeah.
We had that.
There's this cool 3-week period in there where my youngest two, who are 11 months apart, are the same age for 3 weeks. So
Wow,
yeah.
Your wife. Wow.
Yeah, she's a saint. So
yeah, that's
she
crazy.
is a saint. So, but yeah, no, it's been great.
So if you're talking to strangers or even family members, how do you describe exactly what you do?
It's funny. I asked this question to my family last night over dinner because I kind of getting ready for this. I know this was a two-pronged question. It says, "Explain to me what I do for a living," right? And man, they got it really close, honestly. I think the whole work from home thing is they hear a lot, right? As far as my conversations with either folks at the Vested Group or with clients, but as far as how they described it or how I describe it, it's when I think about why I even got into this to begin with, and I think just sitting through Kelsey's just a little bit ago, people do not grow up thinking about want to get into sales, but I've always been a problem solver, right? I love puzzles and taking things apart and putting them back together. And in sales, we're shepherding that process, right? As far as clients call you because something's wrong, right? And your job is to figure out what's the best way to go help them fix that problem, and then just have the courage to ask for the money to help them fix it, right? So really, when I think about like the mechanics of what we do, we're problem solvers, right? And that's what really gets me up in the day, early every morning to come in and do this, because I love helping people, number one, and I love solving problems. And this is a great job to be able to come in and help do that, whether it be help a seller kind of figure out how do they go do that with a client, or actually go help a client go figure out how to solve that problem. Either way, it's helping people and helping them solve their problems. So that's how I would describe it. And my kids were really close. Obviously, they put the technology spin on it and all that. But at the end of the day, they really get what Daddy is trying to do with his life.
That's good. That's really good.
That's good.
You would say that's the number one reason you come to work?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Problem solving?
Yeah. So aside from the conversation of making it rain for our company, right? Absolutely. It's the what, the how, and the why, right? Obviously what we do is we want to put people to work every day, right? I mean, we're a people company, right? And what we sell is their expertise and their time, right? So it's, developing a great personal relationship with our consultants to get to know their stories, their experiences, what they're afraid of, what they're great at, right? And then positioning that to our clients as people, right? Because at the end of the day, the Vested Group is the people. So getting to know those people and then being hyper motivated to go and make their life better by making sure they have great projects and great clients to go and work with, that's super motivating, right? And then but at the same time, it's finding that great balance of making sure we're doing, great stewards of our company and always making sure we're putting our best foot forward to our clients. So yeah, lots of good whys on why it is to come into this office. So.
Those are good answers too. Those are good. And then,
making it rain.
Yeah.
The sales guy, you got to make it rain.
So if you didn't grow up wanting to be a salesperson as a kid, what did you want to be?
I want to be a cowboy.
All right.
Yeah.
You're doing that, right?
Trying.
Yeah.
Trying. Yeah, I'm in training on that one. So.
What exactly? Tell me what cowboy training looks like.
You bet. It's a lot of frustration. We made the decision. So my wife actually comes from this Western, kind of lifestyle background. She's from Eastern Oregon, and her family's got a couple of big cattle ranches up there. So she kind of grew up in this world. And about 6 years ago, she and I made the decision. We had kind of bought a place out in the country, and and we're kind of going out there on the weekends to get away from everything in the city, and kind of be able to, decompress and disconnect. And slowly but surely, the neighbor's place kept coming for sale, and we just kept buying the place just over the fence. Next thing you know, we put together a little cattle ranch out there, and so we had a conversation and made a decision that we really like it out there, and so we made a decision to move out there. So we started the Lavender Ranch and Lavender Livestock Company back in 2015. It's been just a tremendous exercise in trial and error, and leveraging the neighbors around us to learn from things that they've done and spent, because it feels like everybody around us is from there and lived there, and maybe their parents were from there, so everyone knows like all the intricacies of what it takes to raise cattle in that particular, environment, right? Because it's different everywhere. But there is no manual. There's no playbook. You're dealing with nature a lot of times. So you can go put that plan together all you want, and whether or not it gets to come to fruition or not has nothing to do with you a lot of times. So you just go out there and put together the best plan you can, put together the best herd of cattle that you can, and take the best care of them possible, right? Because the healthier you are, the more they're going to produce. The more they produce, the more you're going to make it rain.
Exactly.
But you learn really quickly that is not a business of dollars and cents and X's and O's. That is a labor of love, right? Because when I think back to earlier this year, and everything's frozen in Texas inexplicably, right? And you've got to go out there 3 or 4 times a day with your tractor and break the ponds up because it's got 5 inches of ice, and with that ice on there, the cattle can't drink. You realize real quickly, if you're in this for the money, you're in it for the wrong reason, right? Because there's
Your hourly rate is going down.
Your hourly rate goes down every time you fire that tractor up, right? Or every time you leave the house to go doctor something sick. So you better be really into being great stewards of livestock and land to be in that business. And I can tell you that the lessons that we've learned out there, not necessarily from a finance and economics perspective, but from an adversity, and how do you overcome that, and how do you think on your feet, how do you be a problem solver, and how do you just be able to plug and play into any scenario, whether it be a machinery problem, an animal problem, a grass and forage problem, right? I mean, you've got to be able to solve so many problems out there, sometimes all at the same time, that it's a great exercise in dexterity, really, from a mental capacity perspective.
I never really thought about how the freeze affected you out there. I mean, all of us around here were just worried about our pools freezing over. You were having to worry about your livestock and stuff. That's crazy.
We were putting hay out while the snow was coming down. We had mama cows giving birth in the snow. We were trying to burn brush piles to create heat for them. So it's your lens changes dramatically when you're responsible for all these beating hearts out there, and it's on the show The Yellowstone, you hear John Dutton say that ranching is the only industry where just making it to the next season and breaking even, that's the goal. So survival is the goal. So
is it just cattle that you guys raise?
It's cattle and horses, right? So we've my daughter and I, none of my sons are really into horses. My wife is really into horses from a kind of emotional connection. She's great with exercising them and just making sure that they're in a good mental place. Then my daughter and I kind of picked up Western sports around the same time we moved out there. So we do a lot of the rodeo events as far as the timed event side. My daughter does barrel racing and is picking up roping. And then I picked up team roping about 5 years ago and have been pretty competitive at that. Throughout that time, taking me a lot of cool places. Got to meet some great people, great mentors in that process. Got to partner with some great organizations like the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network is one of the companies that I represent when I'm out roping. So it's, again, when you think about a sport, right? Take any sport. But then layer on, one of the photographers and people always said, we work with kids and animals. We're working with 3 animals in that one, right? Obviously, I've got my horse, my partner has his horse, and we're working with the steer that we're trying to make a really good time on. And at the same time, you're trying to take care of this horse and not put this horse in a bad situation where he can't perform well or she can't perform well. And likewise, right? So it's all these moving pieces that have to come together in perfect harmony. So it's, again, going back to problem solving and reading situations, it's been that's also been a great exercise in learning and being that kind of career student, but then also being very in tune with not only the people around you, but all the influencing factors around you, whether it be animal or otherwise. So
and quickly, but to do it really quickly when you're doing that.
You got about 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Exactly.
4 seconds to make it all hit right. So absolutely.
That sounds awesome. We need to have a show, like a performance.
Yeah, he needs his own reality show.
Well, no, he needs to bring us to show to the office, like we can watch him,
Or we just make a field trip.
Okay, that might be easier.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
TVG
Either
rodeo
way,
field trip.
Wait, I think that's a new holiday.
I think so.
Yes.
First order
National
of business
Western
at
Heritage
CEO.
Day. There you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
At Lavender Farm.
Lavender Ranch.
Yeah, come on out anytime.
There you go. Perfect.
Bring your mud boots. So.
Ooh, yeah.
Those would not work, by the way.
Okay. Well, we have another pair.
I have more boots at home.
I'll have holes in them.
There you go.
No, they do. Okay.
All right. So at work, though, what would you say your favorite workplace tradition is?
There's a couple, but as someone whose second love language is words of affirmation, right? I think the Cheers for Peers thing is a great thing, right? I think it's a great way, because it's so easy to just, hey, man, thanks so much for doing that, or, Denise, thanks so much for taking care of that. But the publicity that comes along with Cheers for Peers, right? And the fact that it's almost like that handwritten thank you note from back in the day, right? That nobody does anymore. Well, except for Morgan from Petrus. Shout out to you, Morgan. To me, it's that modern handwritten thank you note that says, hey, man, thanks so much for taking care of that and doing that above and beyond what you do right now. I think the fact that we associate it so closely to our core values, I think it just really, when you go through and you scroll through that in Slack and you see all the Cheers for Peers that's out there and all the people that are going above and beyond on a daily basis and the people that are going out of their way to recognize that, that's a self-feeding engine of our culture, right? So I look at Cheers for Peers as probably one of the most unique things I've seen in my career that I've never seen at another company is a public kind of Slack chat channel where you can go out there and give some shout outs to people who really deserve it.
Yeah.
So. I like the way you looked at that, like just handwritten thank you notes on a daily basis to somebody who did something. So
absolutely,
that's a really good analogy.
It really gives you, as someone who can tries to look at the company through a single lens sometimes, just tell me where we're at with everything. It's a great place to go and just kind of see where everybody's at, because you see what everybody's working on, right? And you see the collaboration that's happening.
Yeah, who's working with who?
Yeah, who's working with who and who's working on what, right?
Yeah.
So it's a great just tool to go, see how's the company doing, right? Because if it's quiet, you're wondering what's people are heads down and something's wrong out there in the world right now. But when that company's really humming, that thing's just popping off all day, every day. It's great to see. So
what is there something that you wish people knew about you that we don't already know?
Something people would know about me that wouldn't know. I think it's just the Western lifestyle thing to me. It's interesting and it's a little. It's a little tough to relate to sometimes, just because people are pretty removed for it. I mean, people know where they get their beef from and that type of stuff. But I think just understanding the passion and the energy that goes into that as a hobby is I think it's really unique. And I think raising our kids out there has been such a great experience, right? Because for 10 years they were in Frisco, Texas, right, which is a great place, beautiful place, and we loved it there, right? But the experience out there, I think I've always kind of gravitated towards kind of that old way of kind of growing up, and we all kind of grew up in a different time, right? So going outside and staying outside all day, and don't get me wrong, all my kids are into video games, they love the Xbox and they love YouTube, they love it all. But when they do get done with it, to be able to go out and just go explore and dig in the dirt. Like my youngest son, we were weaning calves over the weekend. And it was funny because I guess it was last week or the week before, he had made a comment about that Daddy's the only one that does kind of the nasty work here at the ranch, right? That when it gets
Sweet,
when it gets a little mucky, right? And honestly, it's the other way around. My wife does the majority of the of the work around our place, including some of the really challenging work. So kind of helping him understand the gender roles in farm and ranching. We had a great opportunity this last weekend because he was the one that was helping us wean calves, which is a big sorting exercise where you're trying to hold the calves but let the mamas go, right? And we purposefully made him kind of go out there and participate with us so he can see what his mother contributes to this, right? Because I think we're not going to get political here, but we fight gender roles in our world today dramatically. We fight for equality, right? We fight for fairness. We fight for equal wages, right? Go to a farm or a ranch and watch that family, right? Because it is every single member of that family has got an oar in the water pulling weight, right? And so I think that's what I would want people to know about us, is that it's as much as we love this modern world and love coming to the city and love the technology. At the end of the day, it's we are striving to raise really great people to kind of go off into this world for us. So
the irony being that everybody outside Texas thinks that we all live actually how you live, right? And you're kind of explaining to us what you do. We're just like, wow, that's crazy. But everybody from Texas, oh yeah, you all ride horses.
Yeah, everybody rides horses to work.
There's cows everywhere.
Maybe that would be the new CEO. We need horse parking at the parking lot. So or trailer parking maybe just trailer parking. Yeah, something to tie them up to, and just we'll be back in 7 or 8 hours, buddy. Yeah, for sure. So.
All right, is it my turn?
I think so.
Oh, sorry, Charles. Okay, I'm gonna skip. Enjoy what you do when you're not at work, because I think we
got it.
Okay. Oh, this is a good one. This might be good farming. Okay, so can you tell me what the funniest thing that's happened to you recently? It could be a farming story or ranching.
It's going to be a farming one, right? And I don't know if it's a funny, siloed instance or anything, but when mama cows have their calf, right? So, not every cow is created equally. Not everybody wants to take care of that baby, right? So we had a first time mama give birth. I guess it was about 4 or 5 months ago, and she wanted nothing to do with that baby, right? Which all of a sudden means now that is your baby to take care of, right? And it's called a bottle baby, right? And my wife is so great with these bottle calves, and we always say the second something gets a name on our place, it never leaves, right? Most bottle babies on our place end up with a name, right? Because you spend a disproportionate amount of time caring for these animals, right? So we have 2 right now, and one is Pika.
That's one of their names?
Yep. So one is Pika, and the other one's Boo, because they were stall mates. So Pika Boo.
That's funny.
And Pika and Boo do not like to be separated at all, right? But we keep them right up by our house. And Boo, who is the second one, is very talented at getting through the fence into our yard. So you go out there in any given morning, and there's the 5 dogs and Boo, right, laying in the yard just like he's one of the dogs, right?
The freshest grass over there or something?
Maybe. I think he just likes being close, because he will see my wife from several hundred yards away, and he comes running, right? And
that's the cutest thing I've ever heard.
It really is, and that's one of the pictures I'll share with you. Is him in the yard, and she just kind of leaning on him, and because he's a dog at this point, right?
Yeah.
And one of these days he's going to be about an 1,800-pound dog.
Wow.
Which is scary, but just to see that little, this. Because he's a Brahmin, right? So he's got these big, long, floppy ears. He doesn't look like a normal cow, right? He's got a big hump on the back, right? These are normally very intimidating, a breed of animal, right? They're normally pretty aggressive. And to see this thing, I've got some great pictures of her just sitting on the ground, and he's laying with his head in her lap, right? It's just it's all these just hilarious moments. But I think the funniest one was lately is so we were doing a little add-on project for my son because he didn't have his own room, so we're doing a little add-on. So the construction crew that was out there, they're out working in the yard, and Boo is just coming in the yard, and you'd look out there, and he'd be in their hip pocket, just messing with them, or just wondering what's going on. And the first day or two, they're like, the cow's out, and we're like, oh, it's fine. But by the end of it, they're feeding the cow, and it's just like any other dog at any other construction site, right? So it's just, I don't know that there's a ton of humor in it, but it's an incredibly endearing story about just a very baby that the mama didn't want, but my wife sure wanted it.
I know, living his best life.
He is And believe me when I say Boo is living his best life. Boo's never going anywhere. He's like the fourth one of these that we've had. So, and we've still got the original one out there that's Fred.
So he could bring those. He could bring that to work.
Boo could totally come to the office.
Bring your cows to work day.
You bring your cow to work day might be a great, new holiday for the vested group.
I love that one.
But yeah, it's just when you think about the irony of it, and just the ridiculousness of it.
It's funny, the Brahmin, but just randomly where we live, there's all the years we've been out there, there's a herd of Brahmin bulls.
Is it real?
And they're freaking gigantic.
They're
You're
enormous.
Right.
Yeah. So
beautiful.
when this dude gets to be that size and still trying to lay in her lap, we'll see how funny it is then.
Yeah. That could be some more house repair damage right there. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the original one we have was Fred, and my daughter to this day. Fred's about 1,700 pounds right now, and he actually stays out with our Brahmin herd, to see her out there, my daughter especially, because if my daughter goes out in the field, Fred will leave whatever he's doing and come up and he'll stand there so she can just rub on him, and we've got several pictures of him laying on the ground in his grandeur, and she's sitting in the crook of him reading him a story.
Aww.
And he's just laying there, and she's got her hat on his head. And
okay, this is okay.
It's just
I know,
these bottle
crazy.
babies. As much as you put into them, you get so much more out of them. Just from my kids will tell those stories for the rest of their life.
I'm gonna get one of those.
I keep telling my husband I want some goats and chickens, but I might have to add cows to that too. He hasn't said yes to the goats.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
I don't know if I'm going to get a yes with a cow, but we'll see.
Absolutely.
We just watch how the eggs
We got some you can borrow, so very, very tame. So.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jason Lavender, for being our guest on the Leadership Podcast today. We really appreciate you being here.
Gold star.
Gold star?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
If you would like any more information on the Vested Group, please visit our website at thevested.com. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.